Hi, this is Neil at In Veritas Vino. Today I thought about talk about a wine pairing with Polenta, sort of the northern Italian, southern French, Swiss um, corn dish. Um, so there's a couple of different ways to prepare polenta. There is the sort of fried version, and there is sort of the creamy polenta version. There's a lot of different things that you can add to it. There's a lot of variation in polenta. Um, we had polenta with some spinach, and very simple meal because I was interested in picking apart the, the makeup of the dish and trying to find good pairings for it. And there's a couple of factors that I think are worth keeping in mind when pairing wine with polenta. And one is the texture, one is the sweetness, and the other is sort of the oily consistency of polenta. Some of which comes from either butter or olive oil, or the oil that you use, and the other one is from the oil in the actual corn itself. And so when I'll address those separately, so that the oiliness, a higher acidity wine is going to affect that better. A wine that causes more mouth watering to happen when you drink it. That's a higher acidity wine, and that's going to counteract the oiliness, the fattiness of the dish. The sweetness, I think, one of the things that complements the sweetness really well of the corn in polenta is the in terms of red wines being the maybe a fruity character, a more rich, concentrated fruit character, probably a darker fruit character, higher elevation. Sort of the black cherry, the plum, the blackberry, things like that. The other is the texture, which I am very interested in wines, both coming from the tannin and also the body, the viscosity of the wine. And so the texture of the wine, I think polenta can handle a pretty aggressive degree of tannin, and that I think the oiliness also sort of softens that tannin, and the sweetness somehow too. Somehow that's kind of a nice combination. And in terms of the texture, otherwise, crispiness in the polenta will also lend itself well to a sort of a smoother style of wine, and so I think those factors are what contributed to a good polenta wine pairing, at least in red. In terms of white, I think probably Chardonnay would work pretty well. In terms of sort of the creaminess, the buttery creaminess that you get from an oaky Chardonnay, I think would do okay. And then I think also a higher acidity white wine might be better. Sauvignon Blanc or something like that with a little bit of citrus could probably do really well with corn. I think there might be a little bit of a conflict between the actual flavor of the corn and the flavor of the citrus, but that might be worth trying out and seeing if that's the case. And then also a sweet Riesling might do okay with polenta as well, depending on the other things that you're you're serving the polenta with. Obviously, that's going to be a large factor, but just in terms of that as maybe a base for the meal or a complement to the meal, I think those are some general factors to keep in mind when pairing with polenta. And if you have any questions, email me at neil@inveritasvino.com or follow me at in_veritas_vino on Twitter.